A vibro-weapon, more commonly referred to as a vibro-blade, encompasses bladed weapons that literally vibrate with an attached vibro motor. The motor would result in high-speed sonic vibrations. The purpose of this would be to make the blade even more deadly, since a clean cut or wound is impossible. When I say a bladed weapon, I mean that traditionally. Actual metal with a honed edge, not an energy blade. Because of the extreme damage that these weapons could cause, they were outlawed in most systems. This transmission is going to cover the Vibro-blade, how it works, and most of the popular variations. This is the Imperial Remnant. Stand by for transmission. To make this weapon all the more deadly, some were made of cortosis. Cortosis was an exceedingly rare metal, even in the expansive Star Wars galaxy. It held unique properties of energy absorption and dissipation. The metal could nullify blaster bolts, redirect the energy generated in an explosion, and even withstand the blade of a lightsaber. Because of the lightsaber's energy being a cyclical energy loop, when one strikes cortosis, it shorts the blade out temporarily. In addition to its ability to stop physical forces, cortosis had an insulating property against the force itself. But this is a transmission about vibro weapons, so we'll have to revisit cortosis at another time. The small motor, or the vibro generator, was built into the hilt of the weapon. It sent a high-frequency sonic pulse into the blade itself. The blades moved at such incredible speeds, when it came into contact with its target, it would destroy an area far larger than a normal blade would be capable of. This meant that a direct blow was oftentimes deadly, and even a glancing blow that would normally be a nick or small cut could be something far more serious. If the gory, destructive power of a vibro-blade wasn't enough, they could be upgraded with a vibrator cell that had a focusing effect on the sonic vibrations. This would make the point of the blade have properties like a drill that could puncture most armor types used throughout the galaxy. Vibro swords were traditionally the most common of the vibro-blades. They really rose to prominence in the 3950s BBY in the era of the Old Republic. At this time, virtually all of them had a cortosis weave, as the amount of lightsaber wielders was so high. There was a resurgence in the popularity during the Clone Wars when BX series commando droids were given programming to be able to wield these tricky weapons to better combat their Jedi enemies. Oddly enough, the droids' weapons did not have a cortosis weave into the metal blades, probably due to the metal's rarity and the Separatists always going for quantity over quality. There were also double vibro sword variants that had two of these full-sized weapons attached with a joined handle. The blades faced opposite directions, vertically and horizontally. They were incredibly difficult to wield. These dangerous weapons, both to the wielder and their opponent, were used on the planet Yinkor during the Imperial Royal Guard training. The Vibro-ax was a heavy weapon, often requiring two hands to wield. These were meant to look intimidating and were often used by guards whose very presence was usually enough to get the message across. The weight of the weapon coming down on a target with the vibro technology made it a devastating weapon that could pierce most armor. The vibro knife miniaturized the technology for an easier concealed carry. The knife was used as a backup weapon or for a quick, precise attack. Anyone working in secret, such as a spy, favored the vibro knife. The vibro dagger is very similar to the vibro knife, but offers a broader blade. This weapon was used in combat more often than the knife. It was still favored by those looking to carry discreetly, but those moving with lethal intent often carried this small blade rather than the knife. If you're getting value or entertainment out of any of my transmissions, it would mean a lot if you would join the Remnant and subscribe. Despite the technology required, those in a bind, often criminals, would make makeshift vibro-bladed weapons known collectively as vibro shivs. These were never as precise or refined as traditionally made vibro weapons, but they did serve their purpose. Diverging from the traditional handle with a blade was the vibro knuckler. These brass knuckles utilized vibro-blade technology for points on the knuckles themselves. Those who preferred to fight up close but still wanted an edge in combat would carry these easily hidden variations. A larger version of the vibro knuckler is the knuckle-plated vibro-blade. These used the vibro technology on gauntlets with blades that extended over the knuckles of the wielder. Mandalorians were the primary user of this type of weapon. They were famous for integrating weapons into their versatile armor. The Echani are a culture known for their martial arts prowess. Along with developing a unique fighting style, they created weapons to enhance that style's effectiveness. The Echani vibro blade was a vibro blade, an effective weapon all on its own, and a work of art. It was made with perfect balance between blade and hilt. It was used seamlessly along with the Echani's fighting style. The Zabrak are a species who also developed a unique vibroblade. The Zabrak also created their own martial art, K3. Their style was steeped in their culture and history. It was based in rhythm and combined ramping and slowing down movements to confuse the tempo of their opponent. The technology of this variation didn't vary greatly from the typical vibroblade, but the craftsmanship that went into it was unique to the Zabrak's culture, with intricate designs and individualized modifications. Like so many amazing bits of lore, the vibroblade first appeared in supplemental materials for the Star Wars role-playing game by West End Games in 1987. The creator wanted to introduce an alternative to the lightsaber for non-force-wielding combatants. The concept evolved further in any video games and was made popular among fans when they showed up in Knights of the Old Republic. The weapons are iconic for mercenaries, Sith troopers, Jedi warriors, and Mandalorians. There's a Discord server for the channel. Come join the conversation. There's a link in the description of every video. And check out this video next for more Star Wars lore from the wide Star Wars universe.